All right, today I'm going to be going through the cables on a Quadrunner 250. This particular four-wheeler has got 3 cables. It'd be up between your legs there, up by the fuel tank. I'm going to go through the purpose of each one of those. I'm also going to take those off, show you where they connect on either side, show you how they work, as well as measure those cables. There's a lot of confusion on which ones you need to order. Going to order them, I'm going to give you part numbers as well. Check the links below for those if you need to order those. But I just want to give you a detailed video of those cables. That way you know where they are located and like to help you out if it comes time to order those cables. All right, the first cable that we're going to look at here is going to actually be our range cable. I'm going to show you this panel here. We've got our range, so we've got a super low, middle position is a low, far back is going to be the high position. This cable is mounted on the right-hand side of the 3 levers there. It's going to run down, run underneath of this frame rail here. It's actually going to go underneath of your brake cable coming up from your hand. It's going to go to your other side. It's going to go clear back beside the left-hand rear tire. I'll show you that other side here in a little bit. I want to go through the second cable here. It is going to be your reverse level, so pretty self-explanatory there. This is your reverse knob. That's what it looks like there. You got 2 positions, forward and reverse. That's that one there. It's going to go down also. It's going to come down. This cable's going to run right underneath this frame rail, right underneath of the air box, which would typically sit here. So our carburetor sits here. It's going to run kind of right beside that carburetor there and mount underneath of the air box. You do have to remove the carburetor and the air box to get to that cable to take it apart. On the left-hand side, so clear over here, we're going to have our selection is what they call that on the label here. It's a differential lock. You've got a 4-wheel drive. You've got a 2-wheel drive. 2-wheel drive position is where you're typically going to be if you're just riding around on the 4-wheeler. 4-wheel drive, obviously, all 4 wheels aren't actually locked in until you click that differential lock. Then all 4 tires, front and rear, are going to be locked in. So 4-wheel drive, you're just going to have your back end locked up. You're going to have your back end locked in, and then as well as one of your front wheels. And then on a differential lock, like I said, all 4 of those wheels are going to be locked up. This one here on the left-hand side is going to run straight down to your differential. So it's going to sit on the left-hand side of that fuel tank. It's going to run down. It's going to go right into your differential there on the left-hand side. So to disassemble the first one here, what we're going to do is grab a flat screwdriver. All right, I got you zoomed in there. What we're going to do to remove this first one, grab a flat screwdriver, push it in. There's going to be a clip there that's holding these on. So you take and kind of pry that out. There is your clip there. That's what it looks like, kind of a half moon. And then you can actually just take and push the pin out that's holding that cable on. There's the pin there. That cable then is disconnected from your lever. I'm going to wiggle it back and forth a little bit to try to get that pried out. Now what you don't want to do is take and bend that cable clear back. There is a steel cable, an actual steel cable that runs through there. It's not like fine wires that typically your brake lines would have, some of these smaller cables. It's not that way. It's going to be an actual thick steel rod running through there. So that's why these are very, very expensive, and you don't want to break them. You want to make sure these boots are in good condition. Now going to our center one, again, this is reverse. I'm going to go to my other side, do the exact same thing, pull that clip off of there, as well as your far left one. I'm going to take you over there, and we're going to remove that one as well. After we get them disconnected up here, what I'm going to do is grab a 19mm wrench. I'm going to loosen the lock nuts that are attached to this frame here. We're going to loosen these up, and then you can actually take and push that cable out of there. Push that cable out. There's actually going to be a flat spot on the actual cable housing there. And so when you're going back together, then that flat spot is going to have to line up with that groove that's in your frame. Same goes with this one here. You're actually going to have to spin it slightly to get it pushed out of that position there. And then on the other side, I'm going to try to do this as best as possible without getting in your way here. On this one here, we're going to have a clip that comes in on this other side, so it's going to be on the ductwork side. So we're going to take and push that clip out of there, and you can push that pin out with your fingers there. Go ahead and pry that off. This actually is going to sit down a little bit lower. It's going to be like that. Now we're able to pull that clip off of there. Your lock nut on this one is going to be up here a little bit farther. So the differential lock is going to go up to the front differential. And so that lock nut is going to be up here to the left of the steering stem. Same thing, use a 19mm wrench to loosen that up and push that out of there. We got that cable out at that time. Now we are going to move back to these back clips here. This one looks a little bit differently. Then to pull this clip off of here, take your screwdriver, get underneath of it and pry up. And I can use that, you can use that exhaust pipe to pry against. You pull it up just a little bit, be able to get your screwdriver in there, or a pick, or once you get it up a little ways, then you can just take, and it's a lot easier to get your screwdriver in there. These sometimes, if they haven't been removed, can be extremely difficult. Now, if you're not trying to keep from damaging this boot, if you're not replacing this cable like we are here, take and pry up, pull that off of there. Now, because this cable is removed off this back side here, you can just lift that cable up. We can pull it out now at this time, and I'm going to take and measure it here in a second. There's a couple smaller clamps that are going to be holding these hoses on, so you can remove those as you go, as you figure out where those are. This next cable over, so we have our range right here. This one right here is actually going to be our gear shifter, our foot shifter here. We've got the paddle shifter here, the toe and the heel. We've got the pedal here, the shifter. This cable is very, very short, and it controls what gear you're in. So same thing as far as taking that apart, go through, remove that clip, and pull that cable off of there. You also have a flat clip. Now that one's off. Now we're gonna have to come down here, loosen our lock nut here, slide that cable off. And I'm gonna actually do that because you're gonna be able to see a close-up of how you remove this cable here. Okay, grabbing a 19mm, gonna loosen this one up. You can maybe see here the flat part on this cable. It's actually on the threads. So we're gonna have to turn it so that flat area lines up with our frame here, and then that's where we can pull it out. Now this is loose. Before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and remove this clip down here. Okay, we've got that clip removed. Now we'll just take and push that cable off of there. Now we're gonna spin it and bring that out. So this is the gear shifter cable. I'm gonna kind of leave that in position as we finish taking the rest of these cables off of here, so you know exactly how they set on the machine. All right, going to the next cable here on the far right is going to be the far right one up on shift knobs there. So we're going to grab a flat screwdriver again, pull that clip out of there. You can take and pull that cable off of that spot, and then we've got a flat plate here holding this one on as well. All right, we're going to lift that plate up. Now we've got our range cable completely detached from the machine. We're going to pull that one off. We're going to go to the front now and remove that cable. Then I'm going to go through and measure these cables. I'm going to loosen up our lock nut up here, right to the left of that fuel tank. Okay, got it unconnected there. I'm going to remove the clip at the front differential arm here. It'll be on the left-hand side. Pull that cable off of there, and then remove this flat plate here again. So kind of the same thing over and over again on each cable, but I wanted to show you exactly where they were located and how to remove them the best way. Push that cable off, slide that out. That gives you a little more room to play up here, pulling this cable off. Okay, and how we've done this differential lock cable, you can take and actually remove that nut all the way off, pull that cable up. That's going to give us enough room because the cable's smaller right in this area, and we're going to be able to slide it out of that frame. Now we can take and pull that up. This is going to be the first one I measured here. Okay, so this is the selection cable. This is going to be the left-hand side up at your shift knob area there. This cable is going to be about 24¼ inches long. So that would be the total length. That's not center to center. That's going to be the total length, about 24¼ Now we've got our gear shifter cable here. This is going to be the one at the foot pedal on the left-hand side there, the foot pedal. And this has got a bend to it. It's going to be a little bit harder to measure. And I don't know from the factory if it's going to have this bend or not. I'm going to do my best in measuring that cable. Total length on this gear shift cable is 27. And I'm trying to follow that bend there. So it's a little bit longer than your selection cable here on the left. This gear shifter is 27 inches. and it's got a slight curve to it. Next one is going to be the cable on the clear right-hand side. A little bit longer here. The longest one so far. And this is the range shifter. So this is the super low, low, and the high position. Total length of this is going to be 32 inches. And then our last cable here is our reverse cable. That comes from the center position on our shift knob there. Goes to the transmission on top here, right underneath the airbox. Okay, our reverse cable here is coming in at slight curve to it, about 22 3/4. 22 3/4 is our reverse cable. So that is all 4 steel cables on the Suzuki Quadrunner 250. They also, I believe, are going to be identical to the 300s, the King Quad 300s. If you've got questions on this, make sure you leave those in the comments below. If this video has been helpful, hit the subscribe button. I've done tons of other videos on this machine. Make sure and check those out. At this point, I'm going to go and disassemble that rubber coupling that goes to the front differential, so make sure you check that video out on our channel. Thanks for watching.